Alright, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Mr. G. We're going to talk a little bit about faces today and the parts of the face. So we're going to go in here and we're going to start a little drawing tutorial. So whether you're putting a face on a person or on a tree or an inanimate object, when you go in and you want to show personality, or you want to show age or ethnicity or a male or female or androgynous character, your facial features are always going to be, like in the skill in drawing, those are going to what's really going to drive that. So if we work on those and we practice those, that is going to help us be better storytellers with making better characters. Let's just get softer on here. Blue, that sounds fine. Go ahead and close this up here. So let's start with some eyeballs here. Let's take a few strokes, make sure we're going here. A little bigger. There we go. Alright, let's make a new layer here and work on that. So let's just think about eyes first. Okay, let's start with eyes. So if I have eyes here, and you just start with a round circle. So your eye is literally an eyeball, and we're doing a side view here. So if I cut this guy in half here, and you got your cornea on the top here. So from the side view, when you look at it, you actually don't see most of the actual eyeball. You're only going to see basically this part here where we have an upper eyelid and you have a lower eyelid, and that is set in a socket. So you're going to have bone here that's going to come in here. We got bone here, and this area here we have this upper eyelid that comes down, and it does most of the movement. Your lower eyelid comes up a little bit, but for the most part your upper eyelid is the one that comes up and down like a shutter and closes the eye and gives a lot of the expression. So when we look at that forwards here, so if I draw another circle here, and I usually start in the tear duct here, and I start with this shape right here. So that is your basic shape for an eye. So we have the tear duct here. We have the muscle right here on the inside of the ear here. The nose would be over here. But we still have that eye there, and it's important that we kind of know where that eye sits within there. Try the pupil here, because you see part of that. And no matter age, young, old, you're always going to have a fold right up here, whereas the eyelid, when it's closed, so if I have that same eye right here, and I start with that tear duct again, if this eye is closed here, I won't have that fold up here as much. But the bulge of where the eye is at will still be there, and we'll be able to see where that eye is coming from, because we'll see the shape of the eye in here. And as this eyelid goes up, it's going to fold right in here and make that fold here. So if I have that eye come up and I have my eye socket, still going to have this fold up here most of the time, unless you're looking down very dramatically. Sometimes you would see less of that. But learning how to build that eye, a light source coming this way, and knowing where those parts are is going to help you build a better eye socket and overall eye. Okay. So let's go here and go in close here to the eyeball here. So let's just talk about the actual eye here. Let's draw another one. Let's draw one from the other side here. Again, that curve. Bring that curve in here. And again, this will help you set up. So your tear duct has a little shape here, and it's literally a little muscle right inside of there. And that comes up. Again, you have this shelf that comes up, and then your eyelashes come in right along here. They don't actually go up underneath, they kind of come right on here. So that's where you would have your eyelashes. Same thing down here. You're going to have a slight wrinkle right underneath where that is, and underneath the bottom eyelid, and you'll have some slight eyelashes. Okay. Now, depending if you want a more masculine or feminine figure, accentuating those eyelashes is going to be a factor. But for the most part, the eye itself is going to be the same. But we enhance with makeup. We associate a lot of makeup and definition around the eyes with male or female figures, but the actual eye itself is the same for male and female. So you have a dark area that's all the way around here, and then you have the area in here that actually has the color. So if I was going to color this eye, let's make some green eyes here. We'll just make this real big here. Let's stick with the same tool here, and we'll put some color in this guy right here, like this. We'll go a little darker, and it's going to get darker around the outside, and it will go eventually all the way to a black color. And if you look at your eye very close up, there's all kinds of different colors and shades in there that you're going to see. That'll pop out. But that's a color discussion. We'll talk about the actual shape of the eye here. This blue here again. Right in the center, you always have the iris, and it is often the darkest part of your illustration of a face, that is. Now this area here where that comes in, it actually is an inverted cone. So if we go back up here to where our cornea is right here, we have the iris is actually back here, and it sets inwards like a cone. So as light comes down, this area up on top here is actually going to be darker as it comes around, and your lighter area is going to be the bottom of that cone because it's actually going to be inverted. And we could put some highlights in here with some very high whites here. Okay. And we'll go back here on this. And the white of your eye is going to have some shadow to it too. So don't be afraid to shadow on the eye as well. When you're drawing, and we're just sketching here real lightly here. But you will have a shadow that comes right here as this eyelid comes down. It's going to cast shadow on the white of that eye and help you if you're going for a realistic look. And obviously, the deeper wrinkles you put, the more age you're going to show to your eye. And eyes, just like faces, come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. But it really can. Your eyes are obviously, you've probably heard, their most expressive part of your face, and they really are. And like I said, they can tell expression, they can tell happy, joy. We're in the middle of a pandemic right now, so you see a lot of people with masks where you just see their eyes. So you can tell all that just from the eyes, and often you can tell whether someone's laughing, whether they're joyous, whether they're sad, whether they're ill, expression, youth, can all be expressed with the eyes. If you get those basic shapes again of just starting again with your round part of your eye, you think about it, block in where your tear duct is. I usually bring up this shape here and I show the the eyelid going up over the top part and your bottom coming up to meet it where the corner of the eye is. This shape right here, it still is going to have a cornea that we can knock out right there. That's actually going to be here, partially hid by your eyelash. Remember to put in the fold for the eyelash or the eyelid as it comes up over the eye and folds up underneath the eye socket. And a fold underneath for your eye. Okay, those are your basic parts for your eye. Okay, all right, let's talk about the next part of your face. Let's talk about let's do noses next. All right, so nose. We talk about a basic nose here. Okay, you have the upper and lower lateral, which basically everybody can touch your nose, and there has a area on the end of your nose and this area above your nose. There's the upper and lower lateral, and then nostrils or wings that come out on the side. Okay, and again, everybody's nose is different. So coming in from the side, we have this area here on the end, the lower lateral, and then you have the upper lateral, and these are basically the soft cartilage parts. You know, when you wiggle your nose and move around, you can feel these things. And then we have the wing on the outside. Okay, so that's the part of the nose, and a lot of the parts, everybody knows how a nose really goes together. It's kind of how it fits onto the face exactly that can give you some problems. So knowing that those parts are cartilage, all this is cartilage here. So you know, the upper lateral and the lower lateral and your two wings or nostrils here. Your bone is going to come in here. So this being a side view, and you're going to have a nasal cavity that comes in like this. Let's go ahead and draw some teeth here. So we have our bones here. Cheekbones come in here. So this soft part here, and we have brow and an eye socket here. So connecting to the nose to the face is often hard, and doing it from the front is the same way. So if I'm going from here, I have some eye sockets here. Cheekbones. And some teeth. Okay, so attaching your nose in the right place and knowing where all the parts are. So from the front view, we would have your bone come right up over here. The hard bump you feel on the top of your nose, like right in the middle of your nose, that's where your bone, your nasal bone starts. And you're going to have this cavity here that this all fits in. We don't really see where this recedes into the face, but we do definitely see this hard bone up here. Okay, your nostrils flare out over top of your nasal cavity over here. Okay. So when you draw a nose, looking back at this, you're going to have that bump there from where your bone's at, and you're going to have a little bit of nostril. No matter how pronounced or small your nostril, you're always going to see the nostril either where exactly it is, because they are actually holes in your face, so you kind of need to define those. Alright, so let's draw a couple noses here. So if I have a young person, the nose is very small, very slight. Think about a little baby, their noses are very slight. To a younger child, and usually the softness to it is going to help develop age. Not that older people have more angular, but there's just more definition to it. Your nose starts very small when you're a small person. You think about a baby, and your nose gets a little larger in relationship to your face your entire life as you grow. And the bigger, more defined a nose is, so let's say full-grown woman here. To an older, and you're going to start seeing the nostrils be defined more in age. Easily going down the laugh lines as it works down into the mouth here. That bump, you'll have wrinkles that go up here. That's like the life cycle of a nose right there. If we were doing front view, same thing. I generally define the ball of the nose, the tip, that lower lateral, and the wings. And from the front, you often don't see a whole lot of definition here, especially like on a very young person. So if you look at this, I'm going to have that dip going in here, basically the shape's coming up here like this. So I kind of maybe have a shadow on one side, and that's about all I might need to define. But if I'm going for an older person, same thing. Again, that lateral and the wings, nostrils come up, that bony shape right where your nasal cavity begins, comes down, little gutter underneath your nose there that leads to your lip, gets more defined as you get older in age. Okay, and we'll go ahead and move right into the lips from here. Okay, as long as I'm here and I've got a nice start here. So I generally, when you're talking about anatomically making a mouth, kind of have this kind of M shape, almost like if you were drawing a bird with just the letter M. Okay, it has this shape, and it has some muscles here, and it goes right in, it's symmetrical. So technically, if we're going to break it apart, you have these planes here and this plane here on the upper for this M, and on the lower you have this shape coming down, where you have kind of a bulbous shape here and a bulbous shape here for those planes, and they recede to the corners of your mouth. So, and depending how old you are, your ethnicity, whether you're male or female or other, and what expression you're making, whether you're laughing or smiling, is going to show how pronounced all of that is. It's obviously going to be different on everybody. If we're coming from the side here, we have that same, where it's going to come up Go down. And generally the plane of the lower lip is a little bit bigger generally on most people, but it, faces are all different, so you'll find a face that completely changes that altogether. So again, all those things can come together and you can put a face with just knowing those basic parts and just drawing a lot and sketching and how those planes go together. It's going to help you define characters a lot better and do expressions, whether you're doing very realistic characters or whether you're doing more stylized characters. Having a basic anatomy of the planes of the shapes of the face is going to help you define those things. And we're just going to kind of quickly round out there as we go. But whatever you do, keep drawing because it is practice. Just like skydiving, basketball, and baking, the more you draw, the better you'll get. Nobody just walks onto a basketball court and just starts sinking three-point shots and amazing, and if somebody tells you that they do, they are lying to you. It takes a lot of practice. Remember that talent is nothing more than accumulated practice, and you can build it just like anybody else by putting pen to paper. Got my eyes a little bit close here. This eye socket here should really be moved out a little bit here. Being we're in the magic of Photoshop here, we'll just go ahead and do that just a little bit there. Back to our brush. Control D. Find where that nose cavity be coming through here. So that's that. I will leave you. Remember to stay creative and do good work. All right. Have a super day and keep drawing.